Warning. This video is intended for adults and adult collectors only. It features hypersexualized renditions of men, women, and transforming robots. These adult collectibles, yeah, that's it, can be posed in highly suggestive manners, feature dangerous weapons painted to look like Nerf guns, and made up of acrylonitrile, butadiene, styrene, and other big words. Due to their content and apparently a huge health risk, oh my god, I've been handling these things for years, am I going to be okay? Should never be viewed by children. Get off my lawn and go watch your iPads. But don't watch this on your iPads.
Just turn your back on your obligations.
What's up, you guys? Toy Shiz here, and I'm back yet again for another episode of Retro Shiz. This time, we're going to be checking out the 2006 McFarlane Toys SPAWN Animated Spawn X or Spawn 10 from the animated line that was made popular by such cartoons like Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League, and of course, McFarlane Toys not to be outdone around that time when Justice League Unlimited was just about to wrap up. McFarlane unleashed two separate waves of his animated Spawn. Now, there was an animated Spawn cartoon, however, this not necessarily being based off that.
Look, I don't have time for this. I got my own problems.
This is more of a angular Batman the Animated Series, more in line with Bruce Timm, Jack Kirby, that sort of comic book stylized nature of cartoons. So, this is just a simple take off of that, but much like Batman and how Spawn acclimates himself to really any given property or design, well, the animated line certainly fit him well. So, we're going to take a look in depth, look over the articulation, the details, the weapons, the extra head portraits. Sit back, relax. This is the brand new, for 2006, Retro Shiz episode of Spawn Animated.
While I have all you guys here, I just want to say thank you so much for always tuning in to Toy Shiz, whether it be on my Instagram, Twitter, or even here on my YouTube channel. I very much appreciate the support, and I hope you look forward to each and every day waking up to the greatest toy and pop culture news, because I sure do have a blast telling you about it. Make sure to follow me, and if you like this video, do all that good stuff that shows me that you like what you're seeing. Now, let's talk about this particular Spawn does come with some extra hands, some weapons, and a head portrait as well. Two guns, in fact. You get some nice, high-powered weaponry that Spawn is actually known for, and they're nicely painted, very animated in style as well, but you got some grays, some blacks, some silvers on top of it, and he does have a little peg hole, which I'll show you, for his hand. This gun is another one of those big ones that he's always got. That's the best thing about the Spawn artwork. He always had these ridiculously huge guns, a nice silver, nice dry brushing. Both of these guns, very, very light in nature, but it actually works because of the way he's designed to hold them. He also comes with a Al Simmons head portrait, not the actual burn Spawn that we're used to. This being, I guess, if you'd say Spawn was a Saturday morning cartoon for kids, he probably wouldn't be that burned zombie look that he has. And it's sculpted it nicely, very angular. We do get some extra hands. These are fisted punching hands. For the most part, are done very nicely. Some paint hiccups here and there, especially right there with the silver. And we also get this giant base for the figure. Comes with a foot peg. Stands him elegantly. He looks great on top. It's large enough to keep him steady. This thing is not going to tip over. Very lightweight, but it does the trick. Let's talk about Spawn. If you were a big Spawn collector or you are looking to collect them now, the one thing you have to remember is that back in the day, McFarlane Toys was the big purveyor of changing the action figure landscape. He did have articulation early on, but as things kind of progressed, he moved more towards the more elegantly, almost statuesque-like action figures that didn't take away from the design or the sculpt, but kind of made it so that it's less posable, but more detail, more paint, and everything else going on. And this guy does not disappoint. And while he only does have 6 points of articulation, he moves rather well. Namely, right here in the arms, they go up and down. You can twist at his gauntlet and at his wrist ever so slightly. And this hand actually moves a lot better, going up and down. Nothing at the feet, the legs, the knees, nothing like that. And you can actually twist his head to and fro. The cape is this really nice, just solid red color. Again, very evocative of that animated style. Very dynamic, very poised. With that particular style, I just think it looks very flush, very fluid. Some of the paint has kind of rubbed over the years. He's got some great spikes going on this leg, the traditional giant chunky boot that he has. Some nice black outlines. Some of the paint does get a little bit lax, we'll say. Love his little pouches, very Liefeld, very McFarlane, his giant gauntlet that he has always for the Spawn figures. I always like that about Spawn. You could always change him up and he always would be Spawn no matter what you do to him. The cape is not removable, but as you can see underneath, he's got the same Spawn design. I will tell you though, this right here is put on rather perfectly. The back paint sort of feels like an afterthought, just FYI. Now when it comes to holders and accessories, he does have that peg, and in this hand he does have the male end. You can slip it right in, and he holds the gun really nicely. On this side, it's a little bit of a snugger fit, and it will be a little bit more angled once you get it in his hands, but you put him down at his waist. Spawn is locked and loaded, and he looks rather nice. When you want to go ahead and switch out the hands, they do come out rather easily. It's a nice big peg. You don't really have much to worry about in terms of breakage, but a nice fisted hand to kind of complement a gunned hand. That looks really cool. And then of course, to swap out the heads, simply just pull it out. It's a nice large peg, and it goes right on, and it looks cool. It's a very cool effect just to kind of see a Spawn unmasked figure. Scale comparison with some other notable, we'll say, anti-heroes, so to speak. We have the recent Marvel Legends Punisher, the NECA Batman from SDCC. If you got one of those DC Collectibles Batman animated figures, I would say that he might go actually really well with this animated Spawn. Overall, it's just a really cool dynamic figure to have amongst the other figures on your shelf. So overall, I would say that this Spawn figure is a blast to have. It's very cool. It's very much in the animated vein. I very much collect only the Spawn figures. I have all the different iterations of Spawn. If you'd like to see more of my collection, I would love to talk more about it by leaving me a comment below. Let's talk about it. Which ones would you like to see? When it comes to Spawn figures, I do have a ton of them, but I primarily, as I've gotten older, fixated more just on the actual Spawn character himself because, again, he just lends himself so well to action figures. A gorgeous looking costume. So I'm curious to know, what do you guys think about this Spawn X figure? Will you be grabbing him? Did you have him? What's your favorite Spawn figure? Comment below. Let me know. Let's talk everything Todd McFarlane Spawn. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, don't deplete those meters, because once we do, we'll just somehow rewrite the comic book plot and make it so that Spawn gets a new costume, and we'll just do away with the meter completely. And when we do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.
You're a hellspawn. The Earth is ready to burn. You're the guy with the match, and I'm here to make sure you do the job right.